centuries, while gazing upon the parched lands of the Punjab and Rajasthan, we have dreamed of reclaiming the desert, and not without reason. This sandy, parched soil, which our farmers still patiently plough, was in ancient times the flourishing granary of India. In derelict towns on the fringes of the desert, the search for water was never ending. Some used the stagnant pools. Others received ration water brought in by rail and paid for it. Only a few could find a deep well not far from home. There was a saying in Rajasthan that if man could but haul the waters of the Sutlej to the desert, then things would change. Indeed, not so very far away, there was unlimited water, unused, wasted, the water of the Sutlej. Born of the Himalayas, the river remains lean and docile when starved of water. But when fed by melting snows or monsoon rains, it becomes a force to be reckoned with, flooding vast areas and bringing disaster to an entire countryside. At last, the decision was taken. The Sutlej must be tamed. Engineers began to plan the massive operation, the stupendous Bhakra Nangal project. The scheme, finalized in 1946, pivoted on a mighty dam to be built across a narrow gorge at Bhakra in the Shivalik hills, through which the Sutlej passes. A dam 740 feet high and 1,700 feet long at the top. It would store the surplus water of the Sutlej and make it purposeful for irrigation and for generating electricity in 2 powerhouses at the base of the dam. It was planned that 8 miles downstream, the Nangal Dam would be constructed. Water from here would be diverted into the Heidel Canal, which would feed 2 more powerhouses, one at Gangowal and the other at Kotla, 12 and 18 miles downstream. From here, the water would be discharged into the Bhakra main canal and the Sirhind and Bist Doab canals for irrigation. Water for long neglected arid lands, for 6 million acres, and 1 million kilowatts of electricity for hundreds of towns and many thousands of villages. The Bhakra Nangal project, with a total budget of 173 crores, that is 1,730 million rupees, held the promise of an exciting, dramatic future. An ancient valley was suddenly invaded. Earth and rock in vast quantities had to be removed before work could begin on the project. It was a tremendous task, demanding the joint effort of men and machines. It was the beginning of India's largest multi-purpose river valley scheme. First priority was given to the construction of the Nangal Dam and its hydroelectric system. These would provide the power for the building of Bhakra 8 miles away. Nangal, 95 feet high and 1,000 feet long, began to take shape. It was the first tangible evidence that the Sutlej would be controlled. Meanwhile, smooth surface roads were built across the hills, a link with the railways, now moving an army of engineers and workers, as also huge amounts of construction material to the scene of action. From the quarries at the foothills, by conveyor belt, vast quantities of sand and gravel began a non-stop 4-mile journey to the Bhakra Dam site. Work had started on the foundations of the world's highest dam, reaching a maximum depth of 200 feet below the river level, more than 1/4 of its total height of 740 feet. The Sutlej running through the gorge had been diverted by means of 2 50-foot wide and half a mile long tunnels, ingeniously bored into the sides of the cliffs, so that the river would, for the time being, leave the central dam site free for construction. Now trains were moving into Nangal station regularly. The village had become a giant service camp, housing many thousands of workers. There were residential and office buildings, room for the construction staff, quarters for the workers, as also other facilities which go to make a thriving township, with hospitals, schools, nurseries, women's welfare centers. Town of Nangal had grown with the Nangal Dam, which was now complete, a year ahead of schedule. It was a great occasion when the sluices of the dam were opened and the water of the Sutlej entered the 40-mile-long Heidel Canal. On this day, farmers and their families came to bless the waters that would give new life to their fields. Water for irrigating 2 million acres, and water to turn the turbines at the Gangawal and Kotla power stations, which would feed electric power to 70 towns and 1,000 villages in the Punjab. Side by side with this first achievement, the drama of building the great dam at Bhakra went on unabated. An elaborate construction plant had been set up at Bhakra, the first of its kind in Asia, for concrete formation. It was designed and fabricated by Indian engineers, assisted by a few foreign experts, and was entirely automatic in its process. It weighed, mixed and distributed various ingredients of concrete to the batching plant, which supplied ready-made concrete at the rate of 400 tons every hour to the builders of Bhakra day and night. As the giant dam rises, workers begin pumping cement under heavy pressure into the surrounding rock. It is called grouting and eliminates the possibility of voids being left between the rock and the concrete lining of the dam. To the people of these parts who flock to the dam site, Bhakra is a modern miracle in the sense that it represents the hopes and aspirations of the entire country. Of course, there are those who are busy explaining to the people the special features of the construction. It will consume 40,000 tons of steel, some 800,000 tons of cement, and more than 5 million cubic yards of concrete, a quantity which is 3 times that of the total material which went to make up the 7 great pyramids of Egypt, or enough concrete to build a 20-foot wide road from Delhi to London. Seldom has man built on such a scale. Farmers and their families are lost in wonder. Yes, they used to dream about hauling the waters of the Sutlej to the desert. Well, now it's no longer a dream. Within a few years, water from this man-made mountain will reach them. Every day, the Bhakra Dam grows a few inches. So far, half the job has been done. Behind all this is the united effort of Indian engineers working under one of the world's greatest dam builders, Harvey Slocum, whose ideas have inspired many of the remarkable features of construction here.
You have to stay in one place before the second stage can be entered into. You must have the...
Materials for the 2 power stations at the base of the dam are dispatched automatically, like everything on this highly mechanized project. These modern methods of construction have saved both time and money. There, on the side of the dam, the outlines of the first power station are visible. The ultimate installed capacity of the Bhakra Nangal grid, about 1 million kilowatts, will be equal to the labor of 14 million men each year. No films, no photographs can capture the thrill of a visit to this colossal project. It is, as Prime Minister Nehru has said, something which shakes you up when you see it. Here, at last, is proof that nature holds no terrors when men organize themselves, confident that even the impossible can be achieved with faith and determination and the technological skill of the 20th century. Cars fitted with giant buckets of concrete move up and down and across the top of the dam. Operators control this miniature broad gauge system, which has its own bridges, sidings, junctions and terminals. no delays are permitted. The dam, like a hungry colossus, consumes concrete round the clock. Overhead, the giant double cantilever cranes with long booms move with ceaseless precision as they come to collect and dispatch the huge buckets. It is an intricate operation. At Bhakra, they use a single word to describe it: concreting, the most outstanding construction operation. The men behind the cranes, simple farmers some years ago, established a new record for concrete placement, pouring 790 buckets in an 8-hour shift. By the time the dam is completed in 1960, it is estimated that it will consume approximately 5 million cubic yards of concrete, costing 180 million rupees, and will perhaps rank as the tallest in the world.
Per bucket. That's very good, yes. Now you can, all this time is...
Yes, at Bhakra, concreting is the main theme and drama of the moment. It must be a continuous process to be effective, so that 400 tons of concrete are laid every hour, day and night, for approximately 4.5 years. Buckets come in one by one and are unloaded exactly where the concrete is needed. Then the vibrators take over to settle the concrete. The point where the penstock tunnels have to be embedded is reached. Trucks bring in these huge tube liners, which have to be carefully lowered onto the dam and fixed. Through them will pass the water which will turn the turbines of the power stations. Every second is a breathless one at Bhakra. Every minute and every hour a challenge to man. Inch by inch the dam grows, becoming thinner and wider as it rises. In the central portion of the dam, a spillway of 4 bays controlled by gates is provided. Irrigation outlets will control the release of the stored water of Govind Sagar, the artificial reservoir formed by the dam, which will cover 60 square miles. 66 small towns and villages will be submerged, and 30,000 people will have to be resettled elsewhere. This sleepy village of Bhakra will perish too in the waters of the Govind Sagar, to give birth to a newer and bigger Bhakra, which will sustain tens of thousands of villages in North India. The work of preparing the reservoir is being speeded, for the storage of the Sutlej waters will begin from 1958, making available a perennial flow of water and power. At various locations in the dam, inspection galleries have been provided to locate any weakness that may develop in the structure. Instruments have also been placed at strategic points to measure stress and strain. Bhakra will have many lessons for the dam builders of tomorrow. Now, sirens announce the end of a working shift in the valley. Men emerge from every corner of this vast project and make for home, while another shift is taking over. Twilight descends and the night shift is on the job, as always during these past 12 years. After dark, the lights of the great dam are switched on, glowing like stars. Work never ceases, right through the night until dawn, and then on to another day. This is indeed the vision that has sustained those working on the project, given them confidence and strength to surmount the most complex of problems. Never in the long history of India have there been so many men from different parts of the country working together for a common purpose. To each, Bhakra is a great temple, which they are building with loving care and devotion. Here, for instance, is B. Srinivasan from Madras State. He's been working at Bhakra for a year and a half.
எனது பெயர் வி ஸ்ரீனிவாசன். நான் சென்ற 1.5 வருஷங்களாக இந்த பாக்ரா டேமில் வேலை செய்து கொண்டிருக்கிறேன். என்னுடைய சொந்த ஊர் மதுரை மாநகரம் சென்னை ராஜ்யத்தில் உள்ளது.
Guru Dutt from Jalandhar has spent 10 years of his life here, seen the dam grow up like his own child. From Bombay comes Murlidhar Shinde. He says he is most happy to be working on India's biggest project. As for Gurcharan Singh Randhawa, he's been on the payroll for 11 years, a real veteran. Chunilal Ganguly hails from distant Calcutta. Working at Bhakra, he feels he works for the whole country. There are men like them from all parts of India, speaking different languages, united here in the valley of the Sutlej, each trained to do a specialized task, controlling and coordinating one of the most inspiring projects of our age. When complete, this irrigation and hydroelectric system will be a tribute to the 100,000 men, workers, technicians, engineers who made it possible. Bhakra Nangal. These two words will recall their effort, their courage and their faith. We in India watch and wait, tense and excited, for here in this valley, India's stirring past joins with her most modern present.